What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll be going over the top 4 attack strategies for Town Hall 11 as of right now. And this was a very difficult video to make because the top 4 that I picked can be interchangeable depending on what type of base you're going against, stuff like that. They're all very powerful and they're all relatively the same strength. But after going through an extensive process of going through multiple friendly challenges in order to figure out which is the strongest strategy, these were the 4 that I believe are the strongest, and it'll help you get those 3 stars that you want in war. Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the first strategy for the best attack strategies right now at Town Hall 11. Alright, coming in at number 4, we have the Ice Witch Bat attack strategy. Extremely powerful and very simple to do. We have our Ice Golems coming down along with the Witches, Bowlers, and then the Heroes follow with the Wall Wrecker. They all punch in and take down the base. Then you bring your bats in depending on what you get. You're getting multis, grabbing Wizard Towers. Again, there's going to be a link in the description for every attack strategy on this list, and if you need more in-depth guide on how to use the attack strategy, break it down simpler, anything you need, it's going to be in the links in the description. But like I said, the Ice Witch Bat attack strategy can be a little higher on the list. However, when I was doing my grinding out each strategy to see how they do against certain types of bases, at least the ones that I have right now, this one actually had the lowest score out of all 4 of them, but it's still very strong, still very powerful, and it's pretty simple to do once you get your Ice Golems in and your Bull Witch and everything is taking down the targets you need to. You bring your bats in to sweep through the remainder of the base using those freezes to your advantage, whether it's tying up Wizard Towers for the bats or if it's tying up large amounts of defenses for the main unit themselves. The Ice Witch Bat attack strategy is extremely powerful, and I definitely recommend it for anyone going against bases where you can get a bunch of splash damage, including the Wizard Towers or the multis, and absolutely just destroys the base. Again, links in the description if you want to see more replays and an in-depth guide on how to do the attack strategy and stuff like that. It's very simple, it's very strong, and I highly recommend anyone that needs a strategy to try this one out. You'll have an easy time taking down bases. If you master at least 1 or 2 of the top 4 strategies that I list here, you're going to have a really good time at Town Hall 11, because each strategy doesn't work on every type of base. But I've found that when one strategy doesn't work on one base, another strategy does. And it's a nice little complement for each of the attack strategies. That's why I think it's good. If you master at least 1 or 2, you guys will be fine at Town Hall 11. Let's go ahead and move on to the next attack strategy. Alright, coming in at number 3, we have Old Reliable Queen Charge Hybrid. Or in this case, it's going to be a Queen Walk Hybrid, as I stay mainly on the outside the base. But most of the time, you're going to be charging into the middle of the base and trying to get as much value as you can, getting the CC out, taking down the Eagle, get some Expos or Inferno Tower, whatever you're trying to do. The Queen Charge Hybrid is still a very viable attack strategy, still extremely strong, but not as strong as some of the other ones on this list when it came down to testing it out and against the older and the newer bases and stuff like that. It did decently well, but it didn't do enough to put it up at the number 1 spot. But still, very strong, very reliable for people who like the Queen Charge Hybrid. It became very popular around a year ago. It's still very strong at Town Hall 11. Definitely recommend for anyone that likes to still use Queen Charge Hybrid. It's still a very viable attack. Make sure you set your pathing up for your hybrid, push them through the base, get the CC out the way, making sure that CC doesn't take down your hybrid, and you're pretty much guaranteed a 3-star every time. Use your warden ability correctly, using your spells for your troops, and just using everything effectively, you'll be getting a 3-star most of the time. Queen Charge Hybrid does take a little bit more skill versus some of the other spammy attacks, but it is still a very strong strategy once you get the hang of it and you're used to queen charging and pushing in from a certain direction and taking down the CC. Easy 3 stars all day. Again, links in the description if you want, again, more replays, more step-by-step analysis, how to break it down, how to take down certain bases using it, whatever it is that you need. It's going to be in the description for you guys that want to learn how to use a Queen Charge Hybrid. And again, if you pair this attack strategy with, the Ice Witch Bat attack strategy and you master both of those, any base that you can't take down with the Ice Witch Bat, you'll probably be able to take it down with the Queen Charge Hybrid or the number 2 strategy or the number 1 strategy. It just depends on the base, what the base is giving you, and all that good stuff. But coming in at number 3 is the Queen Charge Hybrid. And even though it's been around for a little bit and it's kind of slowly fading out of the meta, it's still a very strong strategy at Town Hall 11. Alright, coming in at number 2, we have the Pekka Bovat attack strategy. It is an older attack strategy, but I think it still does really well against most bases. And like I said in the beginning, it can be interchanged with the Ice Witch Bat attack strategy. It can be interchanged with Hybrid. It just depends on the base you're going against and what the base is giving you. When I was doing the process of trying to figure out what the best strategies were, it didn't really matter what base I was going against, because I went against every single base that I could in order to see which strategy did the best, regardless of the base. With that being said, Pekka Bovat had a higher score than Hybrid an Ice Bow Witch bat, so it's higher on our list. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily stronger against every single base. You have to base, identify, make sure you're going against, the correct things. Like you can get splash damage and stuff like that. On bases like the one that I'm attacking in this replay, the Wizard Towers are heavily spread out. The multis, Inferno Towers are set to multi. It's a very disadvantageous attack for Pekka Bovat, but it still ends up coming out on top because I believe it's still that strong. It's still a very strong strategy. With all these anti-witch, bases that are coming out, all the variations. Back in the day, there used to be a really popular, the island bases. Those were all built for anti-witch bases. And with those variations still around, Pekka Bovat remains strong because Pekka Bovat does well against anti-witch bases. Because the bats can get around pretty easily. The splash damage is usually easily reachable. With those island bases, it was always on the outside. You could just like snipe it off with a couple of loons and stuff like that. Very easy to do, and that's why I believe that Pekka Bovat is still one of the strongest strategies at Town Hall 11. Did pretty well against most of the bases that I had in my arsenal, and I believe it will do well for anyone else who has mastered it or wants to master it. Again, links in the description for anyone that needs step-by-step guidance on how to use the Pekka Bovat attack strategy. It's a pretty simple attack strategy as long as you funnel your left and right side of wherever you're coming from, pushing with your Pekkas and your bowlers and your heroes. Make sure your healers go into the middle of the base with your bowlers and everything like that, keeping everything alive. And then your bats come in on the backside or with the kill squad to secure the 3-star, whether it's to take down Wizard Towers or Inferno Towers. Make sure you're freezing correctly, timing correctly. It does take a little bit more skill than perhaps like an Ice Bow Witch bat attack strategy, but you still have that element of control with the bats and the freezes, making sure you're timing everything correctly in order to get that 3-star. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the number 1 attack strategy for Town Hall 11. Coming in at number 1 on our list with the highest score among the friendly challenges that I did is going to be the Zap Witch attack strategy. Extremely powerful, and it's one of the newer strategies that I wasn't really aware of until one of my members came in and was like, hey, have you heard of this Zap Witch attack strategy? And I was like, no, I've never heard of that. And of course, with the change of the lightning to the zap spell, a lot of strategies have emerged and become very strong at certain levels in Clash of Clans. But at Town Hall 11, we have the Zap Witch attack strategy. It is by far the strongest attack strategy at Town Hall 11 right now. It's one of the easiest one as well, as it does not require really any skill at all. It doesn't require any skill at all. As long as you use your zaps correctly to take down the Inferno Towers, and maybe you can get, an X-Bow with them or two, it's a very, very strong strategy, and it's very hard to stop. Again, it had the highest score among the old and the new bases, and had a very easy time getting through most of those bases. And there's going to be a link in the description again on how to do the Zap Witch attack strategy, but you can get the gist of it just by watching this one replay. It's not very difficult to do. Again, you're zapping both Inferno Towers, and then you're punching in from a side to take down the base. You just put your wall record down, you put your golems like left and right side, a couple witches behind them, and then you have your third golem in the middle along with your heroes and the rest of the witches, and you pretty much just watch at that point. You have hero abilities, you use them when you can, and then you have that one poison for the enemy CC, but it is absolutely destructive. At times when I was doing it, it looked like it was going to fail, but it didn't. It's a very strong attack, and even at times when it doesn't look like it's going well, it's still, you have all these witches left over, you have your abilities somehow that end up throughout the entirety of the attack. It's a pretty strong strategy, and if the zaps don't get indirectly or directly nerfed at Town Hall 11, this will remain the number 1 strategy for quite some time. I know they got nerfed at Town Hall 10, which made them a lot weaker than they are. I don't know if they'll do it at Town Hall 11. It did not work on every single base. It did not have a 100% 3-star rate when I was trying it out, but it did have a slightly higher score than the other 3. At the beginning, I said that you can interchange, each of these strategies depending on which kind of base you're going against, stuff like that. Some of the bases that were anti-witch, this strategy did have a hard time with. However, with most of the bases, the Zap Witch seemed to run through it without much of a struggle. The reason that it is number 1, not just on the score alone, it's just because of how easy it is and how anyone at any skill level can do the strategy without really breaking a sweat. So that is the dangerous thing about the strategy, and that's why it takes number 1 on the list. Again, all 4 strategies are relatively the same when it comes to strength. So like I said in the beginning, if you master 1 or 2 of these top strategies, as long as you bounce between both of them, you're really not going to have a hard time at Town Hall 11. I did try a bunch of different strategies to see how well they did versus the 4 that I mentioned. I tried Sui Lalo, I tried Zap Hybrid, I tried Zap Drags, I tried Drags and Dragbat, and miners, and lots of other strategies, but these 4 had the highest score, and and seemed to be the most destructive when it came to getting the 3-star against Town 11. Like, I ran through most of the bases with these strategies, but that's all I have for the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, links in the description for each attack strategy. If you need more replays and a more in-depth guide on how to use each strategy, but that's all I have for the video, guys. Hopefully it helps. If it did, I definitely appreciate a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everyone.